Welcome to Barr Estate Winery. I'm Teely Barr. This is my husband Greg. Our son Jeff is our vineyard manager here. We're a small family-owned winery and vineyard on Union Road, and we're happy to be a part of the Union Road Wine Trail. We grow all of our grapes here on our property just across the driveway from our tasting room. And we have Albarino, Malbec, Cab, Petit Verdot, Petit Syrah. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. And we're planning on planting some head prunes in right outside the tasting room in the spring. So welcome. And now Greg will tell you something about our winemaking.
As Daly said, we grow Albarino, which is a Spanish white varietal that we grafted over in 2008. We've had 3 vintages of this now. The 2010, which we're pouring in the tasting room, just won a gold medal at the Orange County Fair. We have 37 acres of Cabernet, so we blend a lot of Cab into many of our wines. Cubalado is always going to be a Bordeaux blend. In 2007, which was our first vintage, it's a blend of 60% Petit Verdot and 40% Cabernet. It's a lighter wine meant to be enjoyed with chicken or pork or spicy foods. All of our wines, except the reserve wines, we try to keep about 14% alcohol so that they're food friendly, because we really believe wines are meant to be enjoyed with food. The 2007 Cabernet also was blended with 20% Petit Verdot. We find the Petit Verdot varietal tends to smooth out the transition between the mid-palate and the finish. The 2007 Malbec has completely been sold out now, and we just released the 2008 Malbec. The 2007 wines were all aged for 18 months in 1/3 new, 2/3 neutral barrels. But the 2008 was aged for 3 years, again in the same ratio, 1/3 new, 2/3 neutral. And then we released earlier this year our reserved wines from 2007 that were held in all new American oak barrels for 4 years. Being held that long in a barrel tends to increase the alcohol because of the evaporation. So both wines are over 15% alcohol, the reserve Cabernet and the reserve Petit Verdot. And then to finish off our portfolio of wines so that we could enjoy doing wine dinners, we blended a port-style dessert wine, which is a blend of Touriga Nacional, Suzal, and late harvest Syrah. We don't grow any of these grapes. We buy them from other local farmers because it's a very low production. We did about 100 cases in 2008. Explain a little bit now about how we actually process the grapes when they come in from the vineyard. They would come in half-ton picking bins, which we would dump into the hopper. That would shake the grapes onto a sorting table. On the sorting table, we'd have people on both sides that would remove extraneous material that might get picked up during harvest or damaged fruit. The clean fruit then would move down the sorting table and be carried up by the conveyor belt to the top with a destemmer. This equipment removes the grapes from the stems for processing. They fall out on a shaker table, which removes raisins or pieces of stem that didn't get removed in the destemmer. The fruit moves down the shaker table to the must pump, which pumps the must over to the fermentation tanks in the fermentation building, which is where anywhere from 14 days to 2 weeks we would have fermentation occur. The free-run juice from the fermentation tanks would then be barreled directly. The must from the bottom of the tank would be brought back in half-ton picking bins and put into the bladder press, which would gently release additional wine from the solids in the bottom of the tank. That would also be put in barrels for aging, but we would mark the tank, the barrels, between free-run juice and pressed juice, so that as we're barrel aging, we monitor how that wine develops in the barrel. Now we can walk over and take a look at the barrel room where the wine will stay for anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. Now this is one of 3 barrel rooms we have on the facility where we take care of the wine for, as I said, 18 months to 3 years. In this room, we maintain a temperature about 60 degrees Fahrenheit as the wine develops in the barrels. We have in this room 2009 barrels, 2010 barrels, and 2011 barrels. So the production from 2012 will go in the other barrel room. Barrel maintenance requires that every 4 to 6 weeks you go in the barrel and you top it and you check its SO2 level. One of the things that happens with wine as it barrel ages is you lose through the barrel evaporation, which is called the angel share. So to protect the wine, you have to come back in and top it so that oxygen doesn't come in contact with the wine and cause it to oxidize. So it's a fairly intensive process to do barrel aging, but I think the result of the product makes the whole effort worthwhile. As mentioned before, the grapes from the crush pad come over to the fermentation tanks. The fermentation tank will typically be used 2, maybe 3 times a season, depending on how closely the different varietals are harvested, and that's Mother Nature's call. But we hope to use this tank this year to do our first our Malbec, then our Petit Verdot, and then our Cab. So we need at least 14 days between fermentation so that we can complete primary fermentation, clean the tank, and then load it with the next varietal. Once the wine moves into the barrels, the red wine moves into barrels, we'll do malolactic fermentation in the barrels, which will take another 14 to 21 days, depending on how warm it is, because malolactic fermentation needs heat to accelerate the process. Then during the year, we'll simply use the tank for either blending wines or cold storage. But for red wines, the primary use during the year will be right after crush for fermentation.
While we were at the Barr Estate Winery, we were able to take some photographs of the winery and the surrounding area and some of the equipment that was there. We'll take you on a visual tour of the winery now. The Barr Estate Winery is on the east end of the Union Road, so the best way to find it is to turn on the Union Road off the 46 right by the Tobin James Winery. Go down that road past the Rock and R Winery and you'll be coming up next to the Barr Estate Winery.